Hey everyone, and welcome Genesis International College students. Okay, so today we are diving straight into the art of applying decorative paint finishes. We're going to be focusing specifically on lining by brush. Whether you're a total beginner or, just brushing up on your technique, this explainer is your ultimate guide. We're going to cover the tools, the techniques, and the safety protocols that literally separate the amateurs from the pros. Let's get into it.
First things first, let's actually define our exact goal for the day. When we talk about lining by brush, we're talking about a highly specific, super precise decorative technique. This is exactly what you'll use to create those crisp, straight lines, sharp geometric patterns, or those really striking stripes you see in high-end work. Honestly, it's a skill that demands a steady hand, a lot of patience, and, well, a borderline obsession with preparation.
So in practice, how do these geometric designs actually come to life? Well, it happens in a few different ways. The most common one is meticulously pre-taping your lines for absolute precision. But depending on your mastery and the specific project specs, you might actually paint entirely freehand, or you could use a straight edge as your guide. The method you go with is going to dictate your prep, but that stunning, flawless end result, that is always the goal.
Okay, here's our blueprint for today. We've got 1, the 4-step framework, 2, essential tools and materials, 3, safety and site preparation, 4, setting out the design, and 5, applying the final finish. Section 1, the 4-step framework, the process for applying a decorative finish.
So no matter what finish you're tackling out there, whether it's imitation marbling, broken color effects, or our focus today, lining by brush, you are always going to rely on this universal 4-step framework. First, you plan and prepare. That means really reading your specs, your plans, and drawings to make sure you're totally compliant with Australian standards. Second, you prepare the actual application area. Third, you apply the decorative finish itself. And finally, step 4 is thoroughly cleaning up the site in a way that, respects all environmental requirements. Basically, this framework is your professional compass.
Section 2, essential tools and materials, arming yourself for the job.
Now, take a look at the highly specialized nature of the equipment we use for this. We aren't just grabbing any old brush from the back of the van, right? The sharpness of your final lines depends entirely on using brushes that are specifically designed to hold a clean edge. You'll also need perfectly napped rollers and sometimes even sprayers for certain base coats. Really, your tool selection makes or breaks your execution.
But hey, the physical tools, that's really only half the battle. You have to be able to translate your plans into exact material quantities. And this isn't just about the top coat. Your checklist is often going to include primers to seal the substrate, intermediate coats to build up that depth, and specific finishes like mirror paints if the design calls for it. Oh, and don't forget the necessary thinners and solvents to keep your equipment clean and, crucially, your paint consistency absolutely perfect.
Section 3, safety and site preparation, securing the workspace. Okay, listen up, because this is absolutely crucial. Before a single paint can is ever opened on site, a thorough safety check is 100% mandatory. You must properly select and fit your PPE, your personal protective equipment. You need to actively scan the room for workplace hazards. And if you're working with solvents or specific thinners, you have got to confirm there is adequate ventilation and absolutely zero ignition sources nearby. Oh, and always review your safety data sheets, the SDSs, for every single chemical you bring on site. Safety isn't just a suggestion here, it's the rule.
Next up, you need to mentally and physically compartmentalize the site. What does that mean? Well, it means setting up proper signage and barricades to keep unauthorized people completely out of your wet paint zone. And most importantly, for site prep, you must meticulously protect all non-painted items. I'm talking floors, adjacent walls, door hardware, cover it all. Use your tarping, your masking tape, and your drop sheets. A true professional job leaves zero trace of overspray. I mean, nothing ruins a high-end decorative finish faster than a neon paint drip on a client's expensive floorboards, right?
Section 4, setting out the design, creating the foundation.
So before a single piece of tape even touches the wall, checking your substrate soundness is completely non-negotiable. If you try to paint a crisp, straight line on a bumpy, dirty wall, well, it's going to fail. It's that simple. Your surface must be entirely free of dust, grease, and any loose material. Any holes, they must be fully filled, sanded smooth, and the entire surface has to be properly primed. The quality of your finish will literally only ever be as good as the surface sitting right underneath it. Alright, so once your canvas is absolutely perfect, it's time to accurately mark or tape out your geometric design. Now this is where you really have to think about the type of tape you're using. You need a marking system that's tailored perfectly to the technique and the surface at hand. Think about it. If you use a tape with too high of a tack, you might actually pull up your base coat when you remove it. Nightmare, right? But if the tack is too low, you'll get seepage and totally ruin your straight line. So, select your lining technique thoughtfully based on the exact design specifications in front of you.
Section 5. Applying the final finish. Executing the lining technique.
Okay, this is where the magic finally happens. You're going to paint within your marked zones. Really hawkeye your edges to watch out for bleeds or any uneven coverage. And here's a pro tip. Pull that tape while the paint is still slightly tacky to avoid any cracking. Once the tape comes off, carefully handle any necessary touch-ups with a really fine brush. Finally, step back, take a breath, and rigorously check the final quality to ensure the geometry and finish completely meet those initial work instructions and, of course, the client's expectations.
So there we go. You now have the complete methodology, right from prepping your substrate all the way to pulling the tape. The framework is completely yours. I guess the only question left for you is, when you pull that tape away on your first real job, what kind of line will you leave behind? Good luck out there, and happy painting!